Hi guys, it's time to take your math test today. So I have quite a few slides here going through your test one by one and giving you also some hints. Hopefully that will remind you of how to do your math test correctly. So go ahead and get out math test 11. My first tips to you when you get your test, I know you will be excited and then you'll run into something that I'm not sure if I get it. First of all, take your time. And then second, get help if you need it from me, from mom, from videos. And the third thing is take your time. Some of you rush through and make little mistakes that you wouldn't otherwise. So on the top of your test, you're going to be looking at the model and then writing the fraction and the decimal. You need to write both forms for the model. So let's do some of these in a different example. If you look at this model, it has 38 squares out of 100 filled in. So I can count by tens, 10, 20, 30, and then I can see the next row has 8, 38 out of 100. So 38 hundredths is written 0.38 in decimal form. And then in fraction form, it would be 38 hundredths, 38 out of 100. Okay, let's do another. This only has 7 squares out of 100. So we're wanting 7 100ths. Now this is a tricky one because we have to put in that extra 0. So if I want to show 7 hundredths, the 7 needs to be scooted over into the hundredths place, which means we need to add that 0. The fraction form would be 7 hundredths. Okay, you've got your 7 here, making sure there's 2 digits, and your 7 here out of 100. Last example for this, you've got 2 whole squares completely covered, plus 10, 20, 30, and 4, plus 34 hundredths. So I'm going to have 2 wholes and 34 hundredths. It should be written out 2.34. My fraction should be 2 wholes and 34 hundredths. That's my mixed number there in fraction form. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense to you and you can use it on your test. The second section here, you're going to just be filling in the blanks. They give you a huge place value chart and you're going to take the numbers that are on the left there and stick them into the chart. Line up your decimals, please. Those ones are easy, but maybe the fraction ones might give you a little bit of a challenge. So here are some samples for you. If my number was 6 3/10, I would be writing it like 6 is it the whole number, and 3/10. 3 goes in the tenths place. Simple as that. 6 3/10, 6.3. Let's do another one. 32 hundredths. 32 hundredths. So I have no whole numbers, but I do have 32 hundredths, and we would just put it in like so. 32 hundredths. Here's the last one, 4 5 hundredths. So this is a little bit of a tricky one. We know we have 4 wholes, okay, but we don't have 5 tenths. We have 5 hundredths. So we need to put a 0 there in the tenths place and a 5 in the hundredths place. Okay, hopefully that's pretty simple for you guys. The next portion, we are going to be turning decimals into fractions. So let's take a look. We have 7 tenths. What would that look like as a fraction? 0, we have no wholes, and 7 would go in the tenths place. So 7 tenths looks like 0.7. Let's do another. 2 9 tenths. So now this time we do have a whole 2. And 9 100ths. Excuse me, I said tenths before. So since it's in the hundredths place, we've got that 0 that we need again to put there. So 2.09 is the same as 2 9/100. Let's do more. This time we're going to start with the decimal and change it to a fraction. So let's start with 0.38, otherwise known as 38 hundredths. So it would look like this, 38 over 100. Let's do another one. 9 hundredths, 0.09 would look like this, 9 hundredths. Easy peasy, right? We haven't done a tenths yet, so let's do one. This is 0.3, which is otherwise known as 3 tenths, and we would write it as 3 over 10, 3 tenths. Okay, so these are decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals. Hopefully this helps you with the front side of your page. Let's turn our page over. On the back, the top section, really we're comparing fractions, and I want you to remember money. Think of money. What's more, 37 cents or 69 cents? Hopefully you should be able to gobble up the bigger number, okay? But I want to look at this middle section right here. This wants us to estimate and to add and subtract. So we've got two steps here. And I want you to know you need to do both. You're going to write your estimation here in these lines, and then you're going to go back and you are going to add the real sum or difference. They want both answers filled in, and I do too. So let's review a little bit about estimation. Remember, in rounding, we have 4 or below, let it go. 5 and above, give it a shove. So let's take a look at some examples of this. If we had 3.8, 3 is our whole number. We look at its neighbor, 8. That's definitely 5 and above. So we give that number a shove, and it's going to be rounded to 4. But if I have 3.08, like at the bottom, 0 is not enough to give it a shove, and it stays the same. We let it go, and it stays a 3. So hopefully that can remind you about estimating. The very bottom section, we're just adding and subtracting decimals. The cool thing is that they've lined up the decimals for you. You don't have to do that at all. So if you remember our steps, the first step was lining up the decimals. Well, they've done that for you in your work page. All you need to do is step 2, which is adding in those magic zeros to help us out. Once you've added in the magic zeros, you add or you subtract like normal, and you get your answer. Don't forget to borrow when there's subtraction. I know that that's hard, and I know it takes time. Borrow sugar from the next door neighbor. Do it carefully, and you'll get the correct answers, okay? So, one last time, my instructions. Take your time. Number 2, get help if you need help. Number 3, take your time. Rushing through, especially with adding and subtracting, is your worst enemy, and you end up getting little tiny mistakes wrong in adding and subtracting. So, good luck on your test today. Let me know if you have any questions. Hit me up on Zoom. Between 1 and 3, I can help you with your test. Good luck, guys.